Hello everyone! Yesterday we witnessed the War Within announcement cinematic live on stream. I'll put the raw reaction at the end of the video if you want to check it out. But before that, I want to do a bit more of a deep dive, a thought out reaction, as I've had some questions from you, I've had some comments. I do have stuff to talk about, which we're gonna do today. The War Within is part of a pre-planned expansion arc under the umbrella of World Soul Saga. The opening shot is a lost Jedi in the desert holding on to Charlemagne. There is Anduin Wrynn, who has heard the voice, has seen the visions, and as so many have across the world, he's been called to the lands of Silithus, where Sargeras left us a little gift at the end of Legion. Some of you out there were not around for that time, some of you skipped out on a few expansions. So in short, Sargeras is a titan that used to defend the universe against demonic threats and brought order to the universe, until he found out about the void plans of infecting a nascent slumbering titan, a slumbering world soul corrupted to their side. That's the reason why these so-called Void Lords shut out the old gods into the universe. Upon discovering this plot, Sargeras formed his Burning Legion and went on his burning crusade to burn out this corruption. He had learned about Azeroth from his fellow titans, but they disagreed with the idea that the entire universe had to be purged. Instead, they had fought a war with the Black Empire, with the old gods. They contained the threats, they put them in prisons, and they left behind machinery to give their titan soul within Azeroth a chance to grow and potentially wake up. That's the story that we have right now. And while Sargeras has tried time and time again to conquer the world of Azeroth with his Burning Legion, the world has its own defenders, repelled the darkness, until the end of Legion, where Sargeras finally managed to stab the world, but he got sucked away before he could finish the job. The sword was left behind in Silithus, and while we gave up our artifacts to suck out its corruption, it has stood there, doing nothing, while we went on with our adventures from Battle for Azeroth and beyond. They even started to meme about this in interviews.
Sargeras, as you know, stabbed the earth with a sword, and it's been there for quite a while, and I'm not really sure, like, where are things going with that?
Wait, what? What sword?
But now the time has come to deal with this story, to deal with the soul inside of Azeroth. And on a side note, they already did mention that we're going to get some earth-shattering revelations about the Titans and how we view the world. We have been promised this before, so what I'm telling you now is knowledge that we have right now. This is the story that we know. Time's going to tell what direction they want to take it. It's subject for another video. Back to the cutscene. Back to our Anduin. The boy king, the little lion, is looking a little bit rough, and who can blame him? His adventures within the Shadowlands were beyond messed up. But his whole life has been a hard road to walk, guiding the world with insights far beyond his years, often being the stabilizing rock keeping things together, even guiding his father's journey.
Father, what are you doing?
What a king must do.
Until he lost that father to the Legion at the start of the Expansion Legion on the Broken Shore. The crown and his father's big shoes were left for him, young Anduin Wrynn, dealing with grief in a time where the world was set ablaze and fell. Eventually, he traveled to the place where his father fell to the fell.
You never surrendered. Even here, at the very end. I cannot do this, Father. I can't be the hero you were. I can't be the king you were.
Anduin, your father's actions were indeed heroic. They were his challenge to us, his people, to never let fear prevail, even at the very gates of hell.
What am I supposed to do now?
What a king must do.
so he did, leading the Alliance into eventually the expansion Shadowlands, where Sylvanas Windrunner kidnapped a couple of our leaders. Anduin was rather special to her and the jailer, each for their own different reasons. Again, he is the voice of reason, the light in the darkness.
Look around you! At what and who you've joined.
But the Banshee Queen is not his father, and decides to do to him what Arthas did to her. Anduin is now dominated by the jailer, and the line between his actions and what the jailer wants to do, they're blurring.
Each time he dominates my will, I feel myself slipping further away. Is this what you felt when Arthas raised you, Sylvanas? Hollow, empty, everything you once were, consumed by darkness.
We eventually come face to face with Anduin in an attempt to save the little lion.
Fulfill your final purpose. Annihilation. The fate of all who carry my blade. My son. This blade does not belong to darkness. It was forged by valor.
And also by honor.
Its legacy and ours are with you, even here.
Now, let it be finished.
Kingsmorn is split apart, and Anduin manages to liberate himself. But even back then, we knew that the scars inflicted upon him, upon his very soul by the jailer, they were going to carry on. He didn't feel ready to immediately go back into his role as king. So after the final speech with Sylvanas in the Maw, I assume that he's been traveling the world for a bit. This is a part that confused a lot of people, because they expected Anduin to still be in the Maw. And I get that part, as nothing is supposed to leave the Maw, and, you know, not treat it as a holiday resort. But they didn't exactly show him leaving the Maw again. But we did know that they were looking for him. We did know that they have soldiers out there trying to find Anduin. So it was kind of hinted that he was out there somewhere, that he was traveling the world.
Something dark is coming, Anduin. The world needs your light again. My son.
I am not that person anymore! I have no light. Not after what I've seen. Not after what I've done!
One touch on his shoulder throws Anduin right back into the moment of absolute darkness. The moment in which he had to overcome the jailer and free himself. Quite the aging has happened to him, which makes him look a lot closer to the Vision as we've seen in the comics. There's also been a time skip between the ending of Shadowlands and the start of Dragonflight. Shadowlands began in the year 35 after the opening of the Dark Portal, and Dragonflight began in the year 40, so there's been at least 5 years, not counting how long Dragonflight took, since we saw Anduin. Now I imagine he's been trying to heal on his own, traveling the world, trying to find himself again. His connection to the light seems to be missing. And so far, in the lore of Warcraft, we've had 2 reasons for that disconnect to happen. One was the red mist used by the orcs against the Draenei, which turned them into broken. As far as I know, this is the one source, the one telling, in which they actively broke someone away from the light. Second is the loss of conviction. The light cannot just simply be taken away, except for, reason 1. The light does not care if your intentions are good or evil. The light responds to your conviction, and our Anduin has lost faith in a lot of things, including himself. Good thing, we're gonna be partying with uber light-wielding Raffi, I suppose. Thrall suddenly shows up, and this has people wonder, how did he get there? I imagine that he got a teleport, perhaps by Auntie Jaina. I initially thought that those two, Jaina and Thrall, were keeping tabs on Anduin, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Instead, Azeroth is calling them, and not just them. There are more across the world getting these visions.
You're here to tell me we don't get to hide. Is that it?
I'd be surprised if you don't know him, but Thrall, he used to be war chief of the Horde. Then he stepped down and he became an incredible powerful shaman. He saved the world time and time again, until retirement was not going to be an option.
You and I, we don't get to hide.
He didn't get to hide, and is now part of the Horde Council, where every race amongst their factions gets a voice. Thrall has absolute faith in Anduin, has no doubt that the boy, the man that he once knew, still stands in front of him. They go way back, as Anduin had joined his father at the meeting of Fedamore. He was a voice of reason to get the factions closer together. These two were like-minded in a world of conflict and strife. The raw emotions that you can see shining through here, and just with the looks that they give each other, the way that the bodies move, let alone the voice acting that's happening. It's incredible what they've managed to put out. Now the visions that are coming, they are from what I assume to be Azeroth, that slumbering titan spirit within the world. An Anduin or a Thrall should know about that spirit, but we discussed this on Discord. So far, we've had Magni Bronzebeard be our speakers in Battle for Azeroth, right? He was the voice of Azeroth, which to him, it kind of felt more like talking to a dream, like he was feeling what the world was feeling and then translating her intent. That's what his role was as King of Diamonds. With time, the cleansing of the old gods, and let's just forget about the jailer directly attacking her, Azeroth has been healing. That's why the Dragon Isles woke up, and the elements are empowering. The spirit is getting stronger, and so her voice, it no longer just carries to Magni. She is now able to reach out to many more, not just shamans either, those connected to the elements and the earth. We also hear about light wielders like Anduin, void wielders like Illyria, potentially others that can also hear the voice of Azeroth. They can see the visions, they can communicate with the world. She is getting stronger, and she is calling her children to war, a war within, light versus darkness, with who knows what kind of outcome. Will Azeroth wake up? Will she be redefined as something being else than a titan spirit? Time is going to tell. Now, I was honestly blown away with this, with the cutscenes, the emotions, the quality. For me, it's insane. I did see the feedback from people where they were like, oh my god, again with the emotional speeches. Where is my raw fighting? Where are my epic battles? My take on that is that for proper storytelling, you need balance. Epic battles are incredible to see, but they're empty and hollow without any kind of heart. For example, this moment. It's epic, right? Grum liberating the orcs, but how much more is added by the following scene?
Thrall, the blood haze has lifted. The demon's fire has burnt out in my veins. I have freed myself. No, old friend. You freed us all.
Balance is important, and I agree. Dragonflight, the balance is a little bit lost. There is need and room for emotional dialogue, but they need to be offset by epic moments which people can cheer for, which people can get behind. That in mind though, this is the announcement cinematic, right? Let time tell if they can recapture the balance within their storytelling. All in all, I'm just happy that there's a sense of direction for the future. Now let's see what they got in store. Let's see where the story of Warcraft is going to take us. And by all means, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And thank you very much for watching, everybody. Next time, although that might change depending on the deep dive for tonight, but upcoming, I want to talk about the announcement trailer. I want to connect it to the story so far. I've got a deep dive for War of the Skillborn. I'm going to talk about the next patch, the raids on the horizon. We're going to dive further into future content, as well as update some of the older videos. So plenty of content ahead. So as always, subscribe if you like my videos. And until next time, see ya. Oh, and here's my raw reaction.
Anduin! Is that you, my boy? What have you been doing?
then Valen's vision could actually come true still. If we're doing this whole light versus dark thing with Anduin in there. If it is Anduin, actually. Ah, yeah, there it is. Cool.
You're here to tell me we don't get to hide. Is that it?
You needed time. We stayed away. But time by itself heals nothing.
You didn't just come here for me. It's the visions. You've seen them.
I suspect many have lately. Something, someone, is calling out from the heart of the world. Like a voice from a dream. Something dark is coming, Anduin. The world needs your light again. My son.
Oh,
I'm not that person anymore! I have no light.
fuck.
Not after what I've seen. Not after what I've done.
You are not your past, Anduin. I trust you.
Hear me.
Here. Feel. Remember.
They're getting worse. Look, whatever's coming, I'll stand with you. Of course I will. But we were drawn here by the voice. Who is it, Thrall? Who's calling out to us?
I'm not sure yet.
Oh.
But that sword. At someone.
What sword, though? Alright, so before they start talking, Anduin looks fantastic. That sword movement that he just made is from a Shadowlands cutscene. And I just wish Shadowlands was better, man, but that was beautiful. Very nicely done. Interesting. Interesting. They said Shadowlands confirmed. I knew it. So interesting to see that they now got a 3-year plan. I am very curious how long those plans are gonna last. Like, is this actually a roadmap and we're gonna get like 3 thick expansions diving into this? Or is it gonna be more of a, okay, we're now gonna do something like a yearly expansion? You know, is it gonna be sold for the same price? Like, what exactly are we gonna be doing here? I'm quite curious how that road plan is. Yeah, there are 3 expansions, but how long are those expansions going to last? Like, is it going to be as we know it in the past, or is it going to be smaller expansions but quicker released? I'm curious how that's going to go. Story-wise, I find it fucking hilarious that Chris Metzen comes back to the team, and they literally rewind the clock to the ending of Legion, and he's like, nah. What you all did with Battle for Azeroth and Shadowlands and now Dragonflight, I don't give 2 shits. I stuck that sword in the planet for a reason, and I got a story to tell. So we're gonna fucking tell this story, okay? I thought that was kind of funny. So we're gonna be dealing with the Titan spirit inside of the world and this whole thing. And at the end, we're gonna learn something about the Titans. That's gonna be a thing. What I found interesting is that he's gonna be like, yo, this is gonna be earth-shattering revelations. And in the book, there's a book in-game that suggests that Azeroth is not actually a Titan, rather that Azeroth is like the origin point of the universe. This could coalesce with what they've actually been designing in Shadowlands as well. The lore is, especially when it comes to the Titans and Azeroth or whatnot, the lore is fluid. Like, they are definitely making changes what we've known so far, so prepare your butts for that. If you're not down for that, then, I mean, all hints are signing towards it. Like, what we know about the Titans is going to change, right? Like, we're going to have those differences in there. It's going to be finding out. So yeah, the War Within is going to be descending down below. I love the light versus void storytelling, which is actually interesting because there's this old vision of the comics with an old Anduin in there, as well as a vision of Velen in the story. And I always thought, like, with Legion, the point of the story was visions are not to be taken seriously, like, you know, Destiny and whatnot. But seeing how rough Anduin looks right now, my boy looks like he aged 30 years. My poor, poor little boy. So who knows if that vision now actually is going to be playing a part. It definitely seems like we're going to go back into an old god light storyline. Does that mean that N'Zoth is going to make a return? I don't know, but we've definitely seen like the Black Empire and the Void influences. And that is in the form of a Xal'atath that's now been partying with the Nerubians. We got an Iridacron that sucked kind of the old god kind of power out of the Galagrons. And an Illyria. Illyria, for those that don't know, there's the couple, Illyria and Tyrellian. Illyria is infused with a dark Naru, with like the Void, whereas Tyrellian was the light. That was like the power dynamic in Legion. It's really, really fucking funny how much of Legion actually plays a part in this, but whatever. So Illyria is seeing more of the darker side, could be our bridge into learning more what's up on the Xal'atath Nerubian side of things. Whereas Anduin, I find really, really cool because we were talking about earlier, like, what about an Anduin storyline? Anduin was being pushed towards the darkness. Anduin was to a breaking point with the Shadows Rising, and then Shadowlands rolled around and nothing really happened in that regard. Anduin, once again, was telling Sylvanas what to do, how to do it, what was the right path. And instead of getting that dynamic, she was forced to dominate him. For those who missed out on Shadowlands, what happened there was that Sylvanas, she forced Anduin to serve the jailer. And in doing so, in serving the jailer, Anduin no longer knows what the jailer did and what he himself did. That vision of like the dark with the spirit you saw in the cutscene, Anduin still feels that lingering presence of the jailer that dominated him, that made him kill. Oh god, what was it? Well, not kill, attack and strike out and do all the nasty things that he did. That's what Anduin's been struggling with. And Thrall tells him, like, look, we've given you time to heal, but time alone is not going to do it. And you have heard these visions as well. The Sword of Sargeras, you can pre-order. How much is it going for? The Sword of Sargeras, stab in the world. Like, Sargeras wanted to kill Azeroth because he feared a corrupted Titan. That was the motivation. Or did he, right? That sword is still in there. She's still wounded. So we're going to find out 50, 70, or 90 euros. 50 euros. 50 for the base expansion, base game. Okay, interesting. Okay. Did anyone even do anything that bad? I mean, he attacked. Oh, here's the cutscene again. I fucking love the cutscene, by the way. So he's got Charlemagne, one part of it anyways. And Anduin is looking extremely rough. So he's been absent. They've been looking for him, but they haven't been able to find him. At least that's what we've got weekend. And here Thrall is basically dropping in there. Yeah, the live action, this is once again a step up in the quality. Like, I thought that they kind of hit their limit, but no, they got it up even a little bit further. This is kind of insane. But the quality is insane. For a moment, I was like, is this actually Anduin? Our little Jedi sitting in the desert faithfully? Thank you very much. But yeah, it is actually Anduin, and they can hear, like, the spirit of Azeroth inside. Interesting. But for me, the setting... Again, I find it I find it funny we're going back in time. But it's an interesting setting. Beta access and early access data subjects to change. Minimum early access duration is 3 days. Limited time only. What? Early access to the game? Interesting. Ha.